and started for their team last year, getting the start tonight, and both of them Florida Gulf Coast. One of them is Keyshawn Kelman, who steps into the middle opposite the Bulldogs' Cam Maniau, and the opening path controlled by the Eagles, who are 0-3. But they've been in every game, but their problem, Adam, has been their slow starts. Well, they get a quick start tonight, but Maniau's there to block the attempt by Kelman.
Yeah, good recovery that time by Cam Maniau on the pass over the top. Kelman, you notice, a physical specimen on the interior. Preseason first-team All-A-Sun, preseason Defensive Player of the Year as well. Unable to finish that one around the rim.
And a sixth-year player, he is able to finish that one at the rim, and the Eagles take the opening lead in the ballgame.
And you see the footwork and just the experience, getting the momentum, shifting one way, the quick spin back the other way. Nice comeback by Kelman.
Eagles basically a man-to-man defense. They'll mix in a little bit of zone, but they open in the man-to-man defense. Bennett starts on the dribble. The Bulldogs point guard. At the top, he finds Daniel Abreu, and Abreu misses off the throat. And the rebound taken by the transfer from Northern Iowa, Michael Duax.
Duax very familiar with this building, very familiar with the Bulldogs after 2 years at Northern Iowa. Quite a contingent for Duax in the stands today.
He's got 40 members of his family and close friends here. Maniau, nice job defensively, making it tough inside for the Eagles. Tries to take the ball away, but as he does,
yeah, it looks like they got a jump ball there as Abreu got his hand in as Kelman was going up. Officials called a jump ball, Bulldog basketball.
Maniau defending well early in this contest in this first minute of play, and out of the backcourt for the Bulldogs comes Isaiah Jackson, the graduate student from Independence, Missouri, one of the 4 players from the Northwest Missouri State squad that have joined Ben McCollum at Drake.
Now, Larry, we mentioned just program continuity and so many new guys in white for the Bulldogs this year. Well, part of the familiarity and I think the toughness we saw against Stephen F. Austin was having this Northwest Missouri contingent in Bulldog uniform. 4 starters on the floor played for Coach Ben McCollum last year.
And 3 of them well experienced because they're fifth-year players.
And we saw that toughness come out, especially closing down the game. And that the guy, not the fifth-year player, just a junior, but Bennett Sturts has been so smooth with the basketball. A timely bucket there, matriculating down the lane.
Terrific game against Stephen F. Austin. He played all but 1 minute in that contest. 13 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks, and he drew 7 fouls.
Yeah, and I really like just the floor sense, the floor games we've seen from Bennett Sturts here just in 2 games in a Bulldog uniform. But really understands when to attack, when to push, sees the floor well, good passer.
Jackson with the pitch for Abreu. Now Sturts down the lane. He kicks from Maniau. Maniau goes up and scores. An up and under move by Ken Maniau, the transfer from Wyoming.
And we were just talking about it, right? Bennett Sturts. I mean, just a quick little savvy ball fake to get himself into the lane. Drop it off to the big fella to do the damage near the rim.
And as we will point out several times early in our Drake telecast this year, no relation to Garrett Sturts. In fact, the spelling of the name is not the same, as the shot from Xavier McClain misses. He is getting his first start of the season for the Eagles, and this is their 4th game. Had a terrific ball game at St. Bonaventure, 16 points, 5 rebounds.
Yeah, just 3 against UNC Greensboro, 4 at TCU, but really broke out in the last game, earning the start.
Jackson penetrates the lane, likes to dish when he gets in there. Here comes Abreu to the basket. There's contact, count the basket, and he will go to the line for an and one.
Now, good offense so far for Drake, spreading out the Eagles' defense. And against Stephen F. Austin, a big physical team trying to take away all the passing angles. Florida Gulf Coast a little more well-schooled, a little more seasoned in that half-court defense. Drake doing a good job. Dribble penetration, getting all the way to the rim. Sturts last possession, this time Abreu.
Abreu with 3. His debut against York College a couple of weeks ago. He netted 30 points, which was the 2nd highest point total by a Bulldog in an opening season game. Only Tucker DeVries had more. He had 36 on an opening night a couple of years ago.
Just the prior year, too. So some pretty big headline openers for Drake as Duax unable to finish around the rim. Good contest by Abreu.
Sturts takes it 3/4 of the way down. Now the Bulldogs set up their offense. Here's Sturts on the drive, the kick. Open is Abreu for 3, in and out. And the rebound is captured by Devin Munoz, the junior from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, transfer from Delaware State. Florida Gulf Coast wants to run with the basketball when they can, but this year their shooting has been, well, to put it in the coach's words, atrocious. He says they're getting good shots like that one, but they're not going down like that one. Nice save that time for the Bulldogs by Isaiah Jackson.
And Larry, sometimes you see that early in seasons. Guys just a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit out of position as the great pass from Sturts. Manyao unable to finish. Good hustle by Munoz to track that one down, but getting all the way to the other end. Munoz going coast to coast. Big bucket for Florida Gulf Coast. You mentioned struggling a little bit on the offensive end, struggling to shoot early. Just a little out of rhythm, a little bit sped up. Guys catching the ball maybe a step or two in a different spot than they're accustomed to. You just hope over the course of the year shots are going to fall.
Right now, just shooting 40% are the visitors. Mascari brings the ball back on top to Jackson. Mascari slips, but he's able to find Jackson, who looks for three, doesn't get it. And the rebound run down by Sturts. The Bulldogs are doing a good job getting those second chance opportunities.
Yeah, we got a whistle here. I think it's going to be for the shot clock. I don't think Isaiah Jackson's ball hit the rim. Bulldogs up early, 7-4 here in the Knapp Center.
Pat Chambers wanted a 30. He's upset. You're watching the back.
Who's done pretty well for himself in the college basketball ranks, but Florida Gulf Coast, love the unis.
Yes.
Great unis.
Yes.
Fun school, great location. As well. I think all the seeds in place for this program to continue to take steps in the right direction.
And as you say, the reputation they had from the run in the tournament. Sturts a deep three, and the Bulldogs now 0-4 shooting the three ball. Duax goes high for the rebound for Florida Gulf Coast.
And the quick shot, because they did readjust the shot clock to about 7 seconds as we see the nice take on the interior, getting all the way to the rim.
Ramir Barno with the drive. He is a guy who had started the first 3 games of the year but gave way to McLean as a start tonight. But he's a floor general, not a great shooter. In fact, doesn't shoot a lot, but he scores there. Abreu looking for some help. It's Mascari who hit his first 8 3-point tries against Stephen F. Austin the other night. Long time in the lane for Isaiah Jackson. Couldn't get out of it. And that's the first Drake turnover.
Yeah, good defense that time by Florida Gulf Coast, shutting off the drive lane. As you see, going all the way down the lane. Barno gets the mismatch, just going hard to his right hand, exploding up to the rim. Good finish in the paint for Florida Gulf Coast.
Rory Stewart, number 6, also in the lineup for Florida Gulf Coast. He at 6'8" brings good height to them. First shot by McLean won't go. Second shot is there, and he gets fouled.
A good stick-to-itiveness that time from Xavier McLean. Had a pretty finger roll, just unable to finish on the first one. I like the spin move, but then the second jump to be able to go get that thing in good composure, getting back on balance, taking the body contact, and going to finish with the left.
Devin Munoz, a starter, back onto the court for Florida Gulf Coast, and Dalian Johnson, who's also a starter, checks out. As at the three-point line is Xavier McLean, played at Columbia for 3 years. His first year at Florida Gulf Coast, he was born in Turkey but grew up in North Carolina, and he misfires on the free throw. But Florida Gulf Coast with their first lead of the night. Mascari trying to get free. Duax doing a good job on him. Obviously, he shows up on the scouting report after his performance last Saturday.
Larry, I was just thinking the same thing. No doubt Coach Chambers making sure that his team doesn't give up any open looks to Mitch Mascari after the 8 3-point performance against Stephen F. Austin.
Ferguson can't handle that one. Bulldogs turn it over for the second time, but it's a swap the other direction. Sturts comes up with it, and a 2-on-1 break. He leads the break and scores. And Bennett Sturts with 2 quick baskets for the Bulldogs.
Now, how about Bennett Sturts? Really nice, just understanding when to trap. We talked about just his general court sense before, right? You see that, knowing ball handler as his bill, get all the way to the rim, use size, use athleticism, especially early on.
Cale Combs, a sophomore from Nixa, Missouri, who's a transfer from Wyoming, along with Cam Manyao coming from Wyoming. He's come into the ball game for the Bulldogs, wearing number 11. Missed the second half of the Stephen F. Austin game after taking a fall on his tailbone, but he is back 100% for this one. putting it to the floor. Munoz goes to the baseline, draws the foul, and gets the basket.
Great take. Again, spread out the Drake defense. Get downhill, get to the rim. Just a hard left-handed drive that time by Munoz. And watch, just the little ball fake gets Mascari up off the floor, and then the power to be able to go through and finish. Munoz at 6'6", good size, and he's a facilitator coming off a 7-assist game against St. Bonaventure. A guy that can get downhill, can score at the rim, but also good at finding his teammates.
He was a 2-year starter at Delaware State, second-team All-Mid-Eastern Conference, or the MEAC as it's known. Big transfer for Florida Gulf Coast. Ferguson on top. Sturtz right back to Ferguson. He'll try the lane. He'll get bumped by Kelman and fouled by Kelman. And Keyshawn Kelman, who's had some foul problems and has averaged 4 fouls a game in the first 3, picks up his first one 7 minutes into the contest.
And that one just being a little overly physical, especially on a guy, Nate Ferguson, that's not going to shoot a lot from that 7 to 10 foot range.
Again, Sturtz running the offense. Ferguson against Kelman on the wing. Shot clock goes down to 7. Sturtz with the penetration, the quick look. They find the open player, Abreu, and he buries it. Drake really moved the ball well on that exchange.
Yeah, just great ball movement. Good extra pass by Coombs, but it starts with Bennett Sturtz. I mean, getting downhill, forcing the defense to compress to create that open opportunity for Abreu on top after the hockey pass.
Drake back in the lead in a game that seesaws back and forth thus far. The three-point shot still not there for Florida Gulf Coast. They are 0 for 3. Combs finds Sturtz, and again, the offense will begin with him. He drives all the way off the glass and down, and that's 3 quick baskets for Sturtz.
And again, just understanding, pacing, great understanding of defense and angles. Bennett Sturtz off to a really good start.
Munoz being guarded by Mascari. Here's Kelman working against Ferguson. That's a tough assignment. He's a big, strong guy. He goes off balance, tries to scoop it up, but traveled in the process. And with that, we have a break in the action. Exactly a dozen left to play in the first half. Lead seesaws back and forth right now.
There, it's just trying to find the right mix with so many new bodies.
Down by 14 against Greensboro. Rallied to tie it in the second half. Closed TCU to within a point with a minute left to play. And at St. Bonaventure, 3 minutes to go, or 8 minutes to go in the game. They were down by 3. So, yeah, they've come back, but have not been able to close the deal. And even Coach Chambers says part of that is their youth. Ferguson goes inside. He draws the foul, and he will go to the line. The Bulldogs attacking the paint successfully tonight.
Really nice, aggressive move by Nate Ferguson. Watch this. Just be decisive, right? I think for any young basketball player out there, you know, you see a lot of people working on their moves between the legs, behind the back. Not a lot of guys get to do that at the college basketball level. It's the simple things that play. Nice rip through and go for 24, Nate Ferguson.
Twiston Gouloyet commits the foul, and the free throw won't go by Ferguson. And that abounds to Drake.
No, good hustle that time. Tavian Banks getting the deflection that time, getting it off. Michael Duax on the rebound. Extra possession for the Bulldogs. It's all those little plays that add up toward the end. Help play in the percentage, give you one extra look at the basket.
Banks just checking in at that timeout. He wears number 6. He's the transfer from Northwest Florida State, which is a community college. Drive by Combs. He gets bottled up, leaves it for an open Banks, who misfires with 3 on the shot clock. Does a great job following his own rebound, getting the Bulldogs another 20 seconds. Bulldogs moving the ball crisply. Shot clock at 9 as Abreu launches a 3, and Ferguson has a rebound. Bulldogs are just wiping the offensive glass so far.
And how about just the hustle? Banks a couple of times. That time Ferguson, and a nice defensive play that time from McLean, ripping it away from Bennett Sturtz as he went to the lane.
Pretty good contact there. No foul called. Gillowett moves into the post, puts the shot up and misfires. And running down the rebound is Sturtz. Bulldogs up by 5, their biggest lead thus far, just under 11 minutes to play in the first half. Tavian Banks penetrates the lane, has the ball knocked away from him by Duax, picked up by Gillowett. Driving inside McLean. McLean draws the foul, and he will go to the line.
And again, a nice strong take for McLean. Last time it was going left, this time going right, drawing the contact, and we've seen a couple sloppy plays. Both these groups going back and forth. That time McLean staying strong, going all the way to the rim, finishing with the left hand off the glass and one opportunity.
Foul called on Cale Combs, and going to the foul line, the left-hander, Xavier McLean. He completes the three-point play. He has 5, and it's a 2-point ball game.
Yeah, continuing the momentum we saw for him against St. Bonaventure. You mentioned it earlier, Larry, 16 points, 5 rebounds in that one. Xavier McLean brimming with confidence.
And what Pat Chambers is seeing on the Eagles bench is a team that has started better than they have in their previous 3 games. Ferguson loses the basketball down the lane as Kelman jumped in front of him. He lost the dribble.
With no Mitch Mascari on the floor, not as good a floor spacing these last few possessions for Drake.
Jackson with the tip, Jackson with the steal. Jackson gets fouled as he goes in. Putting a hand right on his back is Dalian Johnson for his first foul.
And so we've seen last few possessions have gotten bogged down because Florida Gulf Coast is really doing a good job helping off non-shooters, closing down the lane. What's one way to alleviate that? You can have more shooters, or you can get out in transition. Good defense that time. Isaiah Jackson getting the ball out in transition, fouled before he could get to the rim, but really heady defensive play.
Barno back in and Johnson out for Florida Gulf Coast. What we're seeing from Drake we did not see against Stephen F. Austin is a lot more bench early in the contest.
Yeah, especially second half of that game. Coach McCollum finished with only 6 players, the 4 Northwest Missouri State guys, and a rotation between Ferguson and Maniau.
Kelman with a big spike there, but the Bulldogs retain the possession. Under 10 on the shot clock as Sturtz gets a screen for Banks, screen and roll to Banks. He has it knocked away on the baseline. Big scramble for it, picked up by Sturtz. He fires with 1 on the shot clock, and it's a shot clock violation as it fails to hit the rim.
And good defense again. Florida Gulf Coast closing down all the back end, getting active with their hands, the help side, getting to Drake on penetration a little bit quicker, closing off those drive lanes.
Dueck's out. Rory Stewart comes in, a transfer from Rhode Island. Played just 9 games last year at Rhode Island. But he had a career best 11 against St. Bonaventure. Hit 3 threes in a row as the Eagles tried to close the gap against St. Bonaventure. Oh, beautiful feed, and it's an easy 2 for Keyshawn Kelman.
Yeah, you see Kelman, talk about him as an athlete. Wonder why he's first team preseason All-League Defensive Player of the Year. You see the bounce off the floor.
He comes up with a steal, and the Eagles have a chance to regain the lead. Driving right down the lane to the basket, Barno, but he loses it, and the turnover will give it back to the Bulldogs.
Yeah, Barno had ideas of getting that one right back to Kelman. I think a good choice trying to get in the lane, just unable to hang on. Watch this, the replay. Watch Kelman getting all the way up, getting basically the top of his head at the rim. Number 32 in blue, bouncy off the floor.
Well, we talk about paying attention to a scouting report. Mitch Mascari yet to get a shot at the first 11 minutes of the ball game.
But watch, just the spacing for Drake is going to be different with 22 on the floor. Munoz in the corner is not going to be able to help at all off dribble penetration.
Open look for Abreu. 2 or 3, I should say. A 3 for Abreu.
And that's how you make someone pay, right? You put shooters in the corner and you get quick ball reversal, quick ball rotation. That's how you punish help on the defensive end. Mascari and Abreu, 2 guys that can really make defenses pay.
Abreu 8 out of 14 shooting the 3-point shot so far this season. Bulldogs called for a foul on the baseline drive.
That's going on Cam Maniau. I think just a little too aggressive. Kelman's not a guy that's going to knock down that 8 to 12 footer with regularity. When he grabs it, he's going to try to get all the way to the rim. Give a little bit of space, take it right in your chest, show your hands.
Stewart calling for the ball up high. Barno, again, not really known as a shooter. He will try to create, but he has to hurry because only 3 on the shot clock. Barno's going to be forced to take a shot this time. Missing off to the left. The tip try won't go, and the follow shot is there. Good position that time by Rory Stewart to get the follow.
Yeah, good impact that time by Stewart. Good job by Kelman keeping it alive. Seen a great spurt of energy. The block on one end for Kelman, the dunk, and that time keeping it going on the offensive end.
Sturts finds Maniau, and Maniau finds 2 and maybe 3 as he's fouled in the act of shooting.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to call that one on the floor, right on the catch for Maniau, but a nice play for number 3, rolling hard to the rim. And your backside kind of put his hands on Cam Maniau as he makes that catch in the middle. And even though he turned kind of abruptly, getting right to the rim, a lot of officials may have counted that one, but I think just identified the contact right away, the hands on the back on the catch.
So basically wipe out the basket, and the Bulldogs have 20 seconds on the shot clock. Here's Maniau paired one-on-one with Kelman. Sturts looking for Isaiah Jackson. Mascari pitches it back outside, just 3 on the shot clock. Long launch by Jackson won't go, and going high for the rebound is Keyshawn Kelman, who's averaged 7 rebounds a game through the first 3 for the Eagles this year, along with 13 points.
And again, good identification by the Eagles, not allowing Mitch Mascari any opening on a catch.
On the baseline, Barno looks cross court and trying to deflect it. Mascari, he does deflect it, doesn't catch it. And so it will be the Eagles retaining the basketball with 10 seconds to shoot it. Dalian Johnson, a senior who played for Penn State for Coach Chambers for 3 years before coming last year to Florida Gulf Coast, checks back in. That ball knocked out of bounds by Maniau, and that took a second off the shot clock.
It's been quite a battle with Kelman and Maniau, 2 big guys being very physical with one another at every opportunity.
Just getting in balance is Florida Gulf Coast. Off the baseline, Bartniel with the shot. It won't go, gets his own rebound. Now Munoz drives the lane. Going for the block is Maniau, but he also gets a foul. And Maniau with his second foul. Now it'll be interesting to see how quickly he leaves the lineup, because in the previous game against Stephen F. Austin, Ben McCollum, as soon as Maniau picked up his second foul, made the change.
Yeah, and ended up only playing 3 minutes in that first half, and didn't have much of an impact in the first half. Had a heck of an impact with 11 points, 4 rebounds in the second half, but looks like Nate Ferguson at the scorer's table going to check in for Maniau.
Seemed like he'd already reported there even before the foul was called. Maniau will leave, and of course you talk to Ben McCollum about this, and he will tell you what most coaches will. He said, "What, do you have a rule about 2 fouls?" He said, "Depends on the player, right?" He let Abreu play with 2 fouls, not Maniau play with 2 fouls in the first half.
Well, Cam Maniau looked like he was pretty vertical that time on the block for Munoz. Part of what you teach bigs, you're allowed to jump straight up. So if the offense creates the contact, you're allowed to jump straight up, as we see a triangle and 2 now, or a little, not even a triangle, just like a line and 3. Interesting defense here.
And I would feel safe in saying the Bulldogs haven't faced it yet this year.
No, and really just making sure that Duax is guarding non-shooters on the perimeter. Isaiah Jackson, Nate Ferguson, not guys that are going to put up a lot of shots. Face guarding anybody who's going to shoot a 3 with regularity in Sturts, Mascari, and Abreu. Interesting little wrinkle here from Coach Chambers.
Duax with his first foul. It's the 7th called against the Bulldog. Excuse me, the 5th called against Florida Gulf Coast. So to the foul line goes Isaiah Jackson. Jackson 5 of 8 so far in 3 games from the foul line. He was an all-conference defensive player, all-defensive team at Northwest Missouri State last year. Averaged almost 5 assists a game, along with 7 points and 5 rebounds.
And Jackson just steady as a ball handler, really good on the defensive side, as the billing suggests.
Game tied for the 3rd time. Down the lane comes Munoz all the way to the basket, and the rebound is there by Mascari. Sturt signals a set play.
It looks like back to a standard man-to-man defense. So just a 1-possession wrinkle for Coach Chambers there. Kept Drake off balance.
Sturts on the penetration, spins, fires, and it would have been an and 1 had it gone down, but it hung on the rim, and the foul's called on Ramir Barno.
That is just elite understanding of the game and spacing by Bennett Sturts. Knowing Florida Gulf Coast getting out and pressuring that time, passing lanes on the other side. What does that mean? That means there's not going to be any help. Take his size advantage, couple dribbles in, little bit of a spin move, drawing the foul, drawing some contact on Barno. gets himself to the free throw line.
Starts with a quick 7 points for the Bulldogs as Drake makes the change, and Isaiah Howard, a freshman from Plattsburgh, Missouri, makes his first appearance in the Bulldog lineup. Sturts has 8, and the Bulldogs have a lead of 22-20. Devin Munoz brings the ball into the offensive end. Duax looks inside. Kelman tried to make some space from behind. Mascari slaps it away. Kelman tries to save it, but he's standing on the out-of-bounds line, and the Bulldogs get it on the Eagles' turnover.
Great awareness by Mitch Mascari on the backside to knock that one away. Looked like Kelman had an open opportunity off the catch, but Mascari knocking the ball away, forcing the turnover.
Both teams now with 7 turnovers as we near the 5-minute mark in the first half. Ferguson drives the lane and scores.
And again, it's the aggressiveness for Nate Ferguson, right? Just being decisive on the catch, getting all the way downhill, using his athleticism to finish.
Duax sets the screen. Munoz gets the ball inside, and it's a nice cut, resulting in a basket for Xavier McLean.
Great timing on that backside. Florida Gulf Coast doing a good job on the offensive end, attacking the rim.
Sturts, who played for his dad, who was his high school coach. And he just has the mentality of a guy who grew up with a coach in the family, doesn't he?
Yes, absolutely.
Mascari knocks the ball away from Kelman, and the Bulldogs try to build on a 2-point lead. Sturts steals a glance at Ben McCollum, who signals from the far sideline. Pat Chambers, a very animated coach in front of the Eagles bench. Sturts has the ball stripped from him, but a foul is called. And I believe they're going to get, let's see, they're going to call it on Kelman. That's what I thought, and that'll be his second.
And again, just really good pick and roll opportunity for Bennett Sturts. Flipped the screen that time, did Nate Ferguson. Sturts going off with a little bit of pace. The pause, creating the contact, sends Kelman to the bench, who's had a good last few minutes for the Eagles, sends Kelman to the bench with the second foul.
And Pat Chambers greets him as he comes off the floor, and he was not happy with the way that Kelman committed that last foul. Sturts, 8 points already tonight for the Bulldogs. Misfires on the free throw after hitting his first 2. Previous best was in the season opener against York, poured in 18 that night. Stewart hands to McLean. McLean's deep 3 won't go, and Sturts is there for the rebound. Florida Gulf Coast now 0 of 5 shooting the 3 ball. Sturts with the penetration. Abreu is open. Knocks down his second 3 of the night, and he's got a quick 11 points for Drake.
So we mentioned Mitch Mascari and his gravity. That time, Mitch Mascari's guy standing on the wing has to stay hugged up to 22 in white. No help to get out to that pass. That allowed that open 3 off the nice find from Bennett Sturts.
Drake has their biggest lead. Foul called out on the floor. We've got a break in the action. 3 minutes, 26 seconds left in the opening half. It's Drake 27, Florida Gulf Coast 22. You are watching the Valley on opportunities. Yeah. Bulldogs getting those second chance opportunities, but haven't converted on them yet.
Yeah, that's a great point, Larry. The opportunities there for both teams, but second chance points a big part of this Florida Gulf Coast run in the last couple of minutes.
And again, Keyshawn Kelman, their top scorer, out with 2 fouls for the rest of the half. Just getting out of the lane in time to score is Devin Munoz, and he has been their big scorer thus far with 9 points.
And a really nice finish. Good patience on the interior. A lot of guys start to get in a hurry once your initial move doesn't go, but good patience, good footwork, able to find a way for Munoz to get that one home.
Again, Sturts directing the offense. He has a great concept of this offense, doesn't he?
Yeah, really understands where to go, how to set up his teammates. That time gets a little too deep, only 5 on the shot clock.
Sturts knows that. He pumps it with 3. It rolls off. Offensive rebound, though, grabbed by the Bulldogs' Isaiah Howard, and Drake with another offensive rebound. Now they'll try to score on it for the first time. Shot clock hits 10. Open look Mascari, his first look of the night, his first shot of the night, and it's another offensive rebound. This time it comes from Isaiah Howard. He scores it, and he's fouled.
Now, how about the minutes from the freshman checking in after Coach McCollum didn't like the offensive spacing, and 2 offensive rebounds in this possession. Now the and 1 opportunity, big time for number 23, Isaiah Howard. We'll take a look at it here. Watch this. I mean, that's just toughness. Go and get the basketball, the pump fake, draw on the contact, able to go up and finish that one. Nice play.
Rory Stewart with his second foul for the Eagles. Free throw not there. Bulldogs have not been a great free throw shooting team thus far this season, just 62%. Something obviously they figure will improve as this season goes on. Here's Barno trying to shed the defensive Banks. Banks takes a swipe at it as the shot clock goes to 10. The penetration. And the score by Johnson. Dallian Johnson with his first basket.
Yeah, Dallian Johnson. That's just a nice move.
Mascari, 3-ball, not there. Duax runs down the rebound.
And that a little bit of a deep one from Mascari, but a pretty good look in transition.
McLean all the way to the basket to score.
And that's what he's been doing. Xavier McLean, that's what he's been doing. Going hard to that left hand, getting all the way downhill. And with no Cam Manyow in the game, no Nate Ferguson in the game, not as much resistance, vertical resistance at the rim. Good finish for McLean.
Sturts leaves it short, and the rebound is cleared by Duax, the transfer from Northern Iowa, who played his high school ball in Iowa at Dubuque Hempstead. Bulldogs charge up the floor, pace quickening as we come to the final minute of the first half.
Yeah, that was a heck of an in and out for Barno, too. Everything but the finish.
Hired guns it from Mascari. Final minute now of this first half. Duax chasing Sturts. Sturts gets around him, finds Howard, who's open for 3, leaves it short. A battle for the rebound between Duax and Banks underneath. I should say between Stewart and Banks underneath.
And again, offensive rebound and saving that possession for Drake. That time I saw Isaiah Howard, after he shot it with confidence, but saw he had an extra one to Mitch Mascari up at the top, kind of patted on the chest saying, my fault. But great hustle on the backside. Tavian Banks going through contact to go grab and get a second opportunity.
Kristen Goulet about to come into the lineup for Florida Gulf Coast. And he will check in right now, as will the starter, and Devin Munoz, who has 9 points. He has 9. McLean has 9. That's 18 of the 28 that the Eagles have put on the board so far.
Yeah, both these teams playing pretty small, too. Floor spacing, breaking down out on the perimeter. Tallest guy in the game right now, 6'7", Tavian Banks.
Banks connects on that free throw to give Drake a lead of a pair. That foul on Stewart, by the way, his third, so the big guys are in foul difficulty for the Eagles. Kelman with 2, and now Stewart with 3. Munoz trying to get around Banks. Barno being guarded by Isaiah Jackson, who's known as an outstanding defensive player. Shot clock is at 4. Deep 3, McLean, nothing but net. Wow, for Xavier McLean, he's got 12 points.
Yeah, he's had a really good first half, and whether it's in transition or the end of the shot clock, he's been a reliable option for Coach Chambers.
Abreu dishes it off. Shot clock and game clock down to 3, down to 2. Sturts knows it. Jackson fires at the buzzer. Not sure it would have counted anyway. Maybe he got it off. Doesn't matter. He didn't hit it. And it's a Florida Gulf Coast lead by 1 at the half. And I guarantee you that Pat Chambers is thrilled because his team has built double-digit big production on the second half.
Well, I think Keyshawn Kelman, his presence on the floor just makes a difference. He takes up space on the inside, forces defenses to compress when he's posting, gets the defense in help and rotation. And on the when Florida Gulf Coast is on the defensive side, you always got to know where that man is. He can send any shot into the front row.
Kelman, by the way, a 6th-year player. He got the extra year because he played at Princeton. And remember, there was the year that the Ivy League did not play because of COVID, and that's why the appeal, and he got the 6th year, but not till mid-July. Jackson brings the ball up for the Bulldogs. Goes into the lane, puts on the brakes. Again, Florida Gulf Coast doing a good job of making the Bulldogs use shot clock, but Sturts steps outside and nails the 3, and he has an 11-point ball game.
And Bennett Sturts continuing his shot creation. Both these teams, we saw guard post-ups back-to-back possessions for both of these teams. Bennett Sturts showing the new school step back.
Johnson on the baseline to McLean, who connects. And he's been the leading scorer thus far for Florida Gulf Coast with 14 points.
The trends continue. I mean, what we see on one side with Bennett Sturts, the other side with Xavier McLean. Really nice play, a good finish for number 3.
Game tied up for the 9th time. Sturts guarded defensively by Dalian Johnson. And again, Florida Gulf Coast has made the Bulldogs work for their shots. They've not come easy. Sturts steps back and hits another 3. Barely ripples the nets on that one.
And that, not necessarily the most ball movement in a possession. That's pretty good defense from Munoz. Not too much more you can do, but big-time shot from Bennett Sturts.
At the top, it is Munoz. Duax, the transfer for UNI, holding the basketball. Again, he has about 40 family members and friends from Dubuque on hand to watch him play in his home state tonight. Duax tries the shot there. Nice defense by the Bulldogs, and he didn't get it away cleanly at all.
Good recovery from Abreu. Big-time block to be able to get out there and deflect that one from Duax.
Nando on the high post, hands to Sturts. He's got the hot hand right now for the Bulldogs, knocking down 2 threes to begin the half. Here's Jackson getting the screen from Manyow. Sturts underneath, finds Manyow, and it's a huge, big-time block by Kelman.
We talked about Kelman earlier, right? Makes his presence felt, makes an impact on the floor. How about that for impact? Meet me at the rim, Mr. Manyow. Kelman coming up with a big-time block. Watch this, and that is clean. And a little bit of a stare down. Not too much to draw attention, but a little bit just to let Cam Manyow know.
His 3rd block tonight. Manyow is going to challenge him once again, and that'll quiet him a little bit, right?
Yeah, how about that? The comeback for Cam Manyow. Nice move, even though fading away from the rim, able to get that one up and through with the left hand.
Bulldogs equal their biggest lead. McLean moves against Sturts. Falls off balance, leaves the shot short. Sturts is there to scoop up the rebound. Quickly to the other end. Bulldogs doing a good job to transition down the floor in offense very quickly. Ascari now trying to shake Duax. Sturts works against McLean, and now the switch, and Duax is on him. He takes it into the lane, off balance, score it, and hit count, and the foul's called on Duax, and Michael Duax has the foul. And Sturts right now pretty unstoppable for Drake.
Wow. I mean, how about the starts for Sturts? How about the start for Bennett Sturts?
How about the starts?
2 step-back threes. What do they have to do? I mean, you have to respect it. So defense gets up on you a little bit more, just a little, like a quick crossover or double cross back and forth. The wherewithal, the knowledge, the understanding to draw the contact as he goes up, and the strength to finish. Heck of a start to the second half for Bennett Sturts.
And by the way, he has played all 20 minutes in the first half, and so far all 3 1/4 here in the second half.
Yeah, both he and Abreu, guys that have not come off the floor for the Drake Bulldogs.
Ramiro Barno, number 1, back out onto the floor. And in the lane, a foul spotted inside, and it's going against Cam Manyow, and that'll be his 3rd.
Yeah, it's been a nice battle between he and Kelman. And watch Kelman, just smart. Watch. Square up, little jab fake. And then as Cam Manyow, expecting the body contact, kind of pushes his arms out a little bit. Kelman draws the contact, and even though Manyow able to deflect that thing away, that was after the whistle from the officials.
Nate Ferguson, the only returning scholarship player for the Bulldogs from last season, to replace him. Kelman will challenge him.
Good find.
Barno covered up by Jackson. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Barno drives and scores.
Tough. How about that? The little guy, Barno, just enough spin on that one to keep it holding on the rim right as the shot clock was winding down. Really nice play for Barno.
Bulldogs tried to take their biggest lead on this possession. Ferguson comes high to take the ball, gets it inside to Jackson. The Bulldogs moving it quickly. Oh, they do a good job finding the open man Jackson, but he gets covered up quickly. The shot clock goes down to 6. Here's Sturts with the floater off the glass and down. That's 10 points for Sturts. I mean 10 points in the second half. In the first 4.5 minutes.
10 points in 4 minutes, and a lot of pressure after playing 20 minutes in the first half. Bennett Sturts doing it all on the offensive side, getting a 7-point edge here for Drake.
He's already equaled his Bulldogs season high with 18. Bulldogs had their biggest lead at 42.
Years being that's a big draw, and just how about the success over the course of that time? You mentioned some of the great names of Drake women's basketball over the years, and they got a heck of a team this year too, Larry.
That's right, as they try to go to the NCAA tournament for the third year in a row. Off the baseline, it's Munoz faking, getting Mascari into the air, and Mascari makes contact and commits the foul, and that will be his third foul.
Yeah, his third foul, and that floor spacing really important off the floor, and Munoz really effective in that post area.
Action with the Bulldogs holding a 42-35 lead over the visitors from Fort Myers, Florida. They're a member of the Atlantic Sun Conference, picked to finish middle of the pack in that 12-team league. And free throw shooting has not exactly been a premium for either squad.
Right.
Florida Gulf Coast is doing it better. They're just not getting to the line as much. Munoz able to knock both of those down. Or I should say one of those down. And the Bulldogs' lead is 42-36 as they come up the court with just over 15 minutes to play.
Yeah, we'll see what Coach Ben McCullum has out of this timeout. A lot of pressure so far on Bennett Sturtz.
Again, number 21, Andrew Alea, who only played 39 minutes for the Bulldogs last season. Onto the court with the foul problems for both Mascari and Maniau.
Now that a good open look for Isaiah Jackson. He's going to get a lot of those until he can prove he can knock him down. How about throwing it down? Keyshawn Kelman going up high. Again, a heck of a find from Barno. The second time we've seen those two connect in that fashion.
Ferguson works into the lane, being guarded by Stewart, who plays with 3 fouls, and maybe got number 4 right there. He did.
Take a look at this on the other end. Watch Barno, always playing with his head up. You mentioned he's a facilitator, really understands the flow of the game. We've been talking about that for Bennett Sturtz a lot on the other side. Barno, great timing, getting it off to Kelman, and man, a quick burst off the floor and a powerful throwdown for Kelman.
Correct, though, by the way, just 3 fouls on Stewart as he committed his third there, sending Nate Ferguson to the line, and the Bulldogs, who have struggled at the foul line, just hitting 5 out of 10 prior to that make by Ferguson.
And Isaiah Howard back in the game. You mentioned Aaliyah. Both two guys, Coach Ben McCullum, interested to see if they can create a little more floor spacing for this Drake offense, as Ferguson able to knock both free throws down.
Aaliyah, 39 minutes all last season, and in the first 2 games for the Bulldogs, he's already played 17 minutes. He's a guy who came close to making the 8-player rotation last season. Even though just a walk, a nice dish that time, and Kelman scores again. It's Barno finding Kelman.
And I thought that was contact, too. I thought that should have been an and one for Kelman. Another nice find for Barno, putting a little pressure on Bennett Sturtz as he's going up the floor.
Florida Gulf Coast winless in 3 tries, but not going anywhere on the road tonight at Drake.
Good pass.
Ferguson able to convert on the nice pass, and he got 8 points.
A really nice pass that time for Howard. Going baseline, got cut off, but didn't panic. Ferguson, a timely cut and a good find as Ferguson was going in sync with your players. So many new guys, right? You don't have the same, hey, I look at you, we know what we're thinking. A lot of early coaching for both of these two as the programs are coming together. Had a couple of points to get across, apparently, in these first 6 minutes.
You look at the combo on the floor for the Bulldogs, just 2 starters on right now.
Yeah.
Aaliyah, who has not played a lot this year, and you wonder how many times this group's ever been on the court together in practice. Open look that time as the defense let Munoz free, but he was unable to convert the ball out of bounds, and it will stay at the Florida Gulf Coast end. And now, maybe not. That time, first of all, Irvin Wilson had to get out of the way of the play, and then his officiating co-mate, Jeff Malum, come over and say, you were in the middle of the play. We saw the play, and so they give it to Drake.
And usually, a lot of times that happens. If a coach changes the call, you see, if the official changes the call, you see an opposing coach say something. No comments from the Florida Gulf Coast bench. I think the right call.
Well, again, Wilson was part of the play. The ball chopped away by Ramir Barno.
And that time, Florida Gulf Coast came out with a little three-quarter court trap, trying to speed up Drake with the inexperience you mentioned, Larry.
Banks got his hand on the ball, and that forced it loose, and a scramble for it as Isaiah Howard battling for it for the Bulldogs, and Dalian Johnson battling for it for Florida Gulf Coast. And the officials are going to...
Yeah, looks like it was a jump ball, so possession going to Drake, just... allowing Daniel Abreu to tie his shoe and allowing maybe some tempers just to kind of calm themselves down for a second.
I thought that was part of the little bit of a break in the action before the Bulldogs play it in with the alternating possession. Well, it's a good scramble.
Yeah, a little bit of a mini brouhaha there down on the floor, not wanting to get rid of possession of that basketball. And here comes the three-quarter court, a little bit of a 1-2-1-1, little bit of a diamond action from Florida Gulf Coast.
And Banks, who missed the first couple of ball games because of an injury, has been active on the board so far, and he's been doing a good job defensively, and he forced that loose ball.
And part of the pressure is forcing Drake to get into their offense later. Now 14 on the shot clock before Drake even really approaches the three-point line.
Sturtz looking for some help, and coming out to bail him out is Howard. In the corner, Abreu has it blocked by Barno. And the shot clock went off, although I think the Bulldogs still have time on it. They're going to put some time back on the shot clock, I believe.
And the officials coming together again. I don't know that Barno touched that basketball. It looked like it. Florida Gulf Coast. Well, part of what you're building up for, getting into those MTEs, that's the chance you get to be a giant killer. That's a big resume building win, potentially opportunity at least for Coach Ben McCullum and his team.
1 second on the shot clock. Abreu will take it, and he will miss it, and the ball will go to Florida Gulf Coast. They are back to within 6.
Yeah, it looks like Abreu maybe stepped on the sideline on that catch anyway. Would not have counted regardless. Good stop that time. Good defensive possession. And for Coach Chambers, the mix-up of defenses forcing Drake into that late shot clock opportunity.
Munoz takes it to the rack, leaves it for Kelman, and that has been money in the bank. That's 3 dunks for Kelman in this half alone.
Wow, how about Kelman? Just mad at the rim with that right-hand flush.
He is an exceptional athlete. Lost about 20 pounds, and then that seems to have really helped his game.
Yeah, spraying off the floor.
A foul will be called on Duax, is trying to drive for the Bulldogs.
And we'll take a look at this. Watch as Munoz goes, unable to get the ball up to the rim, but Kelman just following that thing and just throwing it down with the right hand.
Duax commits his 4th foul for Florida Gulf Coast, sending Sturtz to the line. Sturtz has a new Drake career high with that, his 19th point, his all-time high, 29 against Southwest Missouri State. He's got knocked down 6 threes in that ball game when he played at Northwest Missouri State. But talking about your reputation preceding you, never played a game at Drake, and he's already 3rd team preseason all-conference.
Right.
And living up to that billing, I might add.
Yeah, he's off to a really good start, and starting to see today what Bennett Sturtz can do when he has to exert himself on the offensive end.
Well, the more you're around basketball, the more you understand the value of a point guard, don't you?
No kidding. Especially one that's 6'4" and can shoot it.
His contact spotted away from the ball, and they caught Banks on a foul for Drake.
We were talking about Kelman earlier and the impact he has on the floor. We saw the dunk, right? But part of it is just that hard posting in the lane. It makes defense so much harder. That time drawing a foul on Drake as well. Getting Florida Gulf Coast 1 foul closer to the bonus.
3 team fouls apiece so far. Barno trying to penetrate the lane. Bulldogs getting some good defense that time. From Combs, he puts his shot up and it rolls out. The ball back tipped from Kelman, but he tips it to the wrong guy. He tips it to Abreu for the Bulldogs. Sturtz on a 20-point night. Handles the basketball. Cale Combs out of Wyoming to Banks. Banks will attack. Banks loses the basketball on the way up, I believe. I don't think he got to the rim with that basketball, did he? Abreu hits the floor for the Bulldogs, and hitting the floor for Florida Gulf Coast was Kelman in a collision, and that brings us to a timeout. No fouls, by the way, called on the play. 11:26 to go.
6-point game only 1 of 8 from 3. You gotta like the situation your team's in on the road, being able to build, continuing to find ways to score offensively, even though they're not going down from deep.
And they've outscored Drake in the paint 28-24. Again, the Bulldogs with a couple of players on the bench with fouls. Mascari and Magno both with 3. Abreu there to defend. Ferguson knocks it away from behind. That's picked up by Isaiah Howard. Bulldogs had some quick hands forcing those turnovers tonight.
Yeah, good job by Abreu coming over and help side. Looked like Munoz maybe had an open lane, an open opportunity, but that closed quickly.
Combs puts the ball on the floor. This is Sturts. Bulldogs with a dozen seconds on the shot clock. But again, Florida Gulf Coast making Drake use some shot clock.
And
that's part of the Drake offense also. Shot clock at 2. Desperation attempt won't go by Combs. It fails to draw iron, and bringing it the other way is Barno, and he gets fouled. Isaiah Howard trying to provide defense in the backcourt, commits the foul.
Yeah, great defense that time by both Barno and McLean, switching some of those screens, going back and forth, not allowing anything easy for Bennett Sturts, trying to navigate screen and rolls at the top of the circle.
Mitch Mascari, the graduate student from Geneva, Illinois, with 3 fouls, back onto the court for the Bulldogs. Isaiah Howard checks out. Johnson tries to kick it for Barno, but he airmailed it, and the turnover will give it back to the Bulldogs as Florida Gulf Coast has committed their 10th turnover.
That's it. It's always scary being a security guy on the side, having your back turned. That thing coming in hot.
And speaking from coming from behind, that's what McLean did to come up with the steal. Johnson gets it back to McLean. Now Barno will try to direct the offense, and as he goes in, there's contact inside.
That's going to be the 4th on Mascari as well. So a little bit of a ticky-tack foul is that time called on Mitch Mascari. He's going to have to go to the bench with 4 fouls, and a bit of a careless turnover by Cale Combs on the other side. The full court pressure of Florida Gulf Coast continuing to slow down and bother Drake.
The Isaiahs come in for Drake, Jackson, and Howard. Offensive foul that time, whistled against Dalian Johnson.
And that's an easy call. Anytime you extend, especially you put your body in and then extend, pretty easy call for the official, especially when you have the ball 35 feet from the rim.
Probably not a wise foul, and happened right in front of Pat Chambers on the bench for the Eagles. So the Bulldogs tried to extend their 6-point lead. Their biggest lead has been 7. Sturts seems like the Energizer Bunny. He plays basically 40 minutes a ball game and never seems to run low on energy so far, at least in his Drake career. Unforced miscue there will give the Eagles the ball. The scoreboard's been stuck here for about a minute and a half.
No, that time Isaiah Jackson has to be a guy that's a willing shot taker from that corner. They're leaving him wide open, even though he's missed a couple. Got to be a guy with the confidence, the stick-to-itiveness to catch it, shoot it, and knock that thing down.
Darren Williams, number 2, onto the court for the first time for the Florida Gulf Coast Eagles in the ball game. Barno works against Jackson. Shot clock is at 8. Barno backing him down. Has the ball stripped from him by Isaiah Jackson. Bulldogs 3 against 2, and Sturts with the finish.
Great play by Isaiah Jackson defensively. And when you're struggling to score, we mentioned it in the first half, Larry, right? When you're struggling to score, getting a steal, getting out in transition, get an easy one, got this Drake crowd behind him.
And that's the biggest lead for the Bulldogs, up by 8 with just under 9 to play. Munoz works against Ferguson, dances into the lane. Howard took a swipe at it, didn't get it. Here's McLean for 3. That will momentarily silence the crowd as Xavier McLean hits his second 3 of the night and has a 17-point night.
Florida Gulf Coast second 3, and the second for Xavier McLean. 17 points. Finding big buckets for the Eagles anytime they need them.
McLean, the transfer from Columbia, coming off a 16-point effort against St. Bonaventure. Bulldogs lose it on the turnover, and the ball goes back to the Eagles with 8:22 remaining.
Boy, and Barno's he's been pesky, hasn't he? I know Bennett Sturts had a great second half, and a lot of those with Barno guarding him, or at least starting guarding him, but no quit
Doesn't score a lot, but does a lot. In fact, was on the 8-10, or 8-10, I should say, all-freshman team of a year ago. How about that move by Munoz?
Munoz was posting up smaller guys. This time has Nate Ferguson on him. Watch this. A little bit of a crossover, and then how about a little bit almost like a Statue of Liberty finish, going up with the right hand. The spin off the glass. Crafty finish by Munoz.
Second foul on Ferguson. Munoz a chance at a three-point play. Munoz really an outstanding player at Delaware State, second team all-conference in the MEAC, had 31 points in the game last year against Morgan State. And just 2 years at Delaware State, so he comes in with some time to play at Florida Gulf Coast and add to their system, and he knocks down the free throw to give him 13 points.
And you mentioned scored 31, average 15 a game. So you know he can put them up, and no doubt a lot of those mid-level post-ups, about 6'6", they're creating a steal in the open floor.
Eagles on a 6-point run, a chance to make it more, and they do. As it's Darren Williams connecting from the right corner.
A guy we haven't heard much from, but right in front of that Eagle bench, Darren Williams knocking down a big three.
Eagles have scored 9 straight. Sturtz tries to go inside, and I believe the foul will be called out on the floor on Barno. Nope. Check that. Call on Kelman instead. And with that, we have a break in the action. 7:41 to play. The Eagles have
be pesky, as we discussed, Larry, but on the offensive side, facilitating up to 5 assists now to go along with 4 points, a couple rebounds, a couple of steals as well. And a big-time three knocked down by freshman Darren Williams in the corner to give the Eagles this 1-point advantage.
And again, Williams, a guy who had played very limited action thus far for Florida Gulf Coast this season, and that was his first opportunity tonight. Sturtz gets the screen from Ferguson. Shot clock down to 5. Aaliyah gets the screen from Ferguson. Pitches it off to Sturtz, who shoots as the clock reaches 0, and the Bulldogs get another opportunity on an offensive rebound, and then Abreu dribbles it, and it goes out of bounds, and let's see who touched it last.
That looks like it's off the leg of Kelman.
Yes, it does.
Not a great possession there from Drake, but a fruitful request from Coach Chambers. Shot clock violation called after the video review.
So the challenge upheld, a 9-0 run for Florida Gulf Coast as they come up the court with 7:19 to go. Ramir Barno, who started the first 3 games, came off the bench, and as Adam mentioned, has been very effective in this one. Barno looks inside. This is Keyshawn Kelman muscling it against Ferguson and putting the shot down.
And muscling. Nate Ferguson going to leave with a couple bruises after that one. Keyshawn Kelman, just grown man strength, going all the way to the rim, finishing underneath. Big-time play for number 32 in blue.
Sturtz. The floater off the top of the backboard. The follow shot won't go. And it's Kelman, a big man, come up with a big rebound. He's got a dozen points, 8 of them in the second half.
Score on one end, impact that shot, go grab that rebound. Good couple possessions from Keyshawn Kelman.
Aaliyah just ran into a Kelman screen. I'm not sure I want to do that. He's got nothing but muscles. Here's Isaiah Jackson coming up with a rebound for Drake. Bulldogs tried to end an 11-0 Eagles run. And again, they're doing it with 2 of their starters on the bench in foul difficulty. Here's Jackson trying to go down the lane. Finds Ferguson. Ferguson finds the basket, and it's an and one. And Nate Ferguson, big-time role in this ball game as he's got 10 points, and Barno commits the foul.
And a much-needed bucket for Drake. Offense has struggled, right? I mean, without Bennett Sturtz having the ball in his hands, to get an extra bucket that time, getting downhill, Isaiah Jackson forcing the help, and then kicking off to Nate Ferguson, who's been an apt finisher in this game.
How about Ferguson, the only scholarship athlete to stay with the Drake program in a year? Because he has Drake in his blood. He had an aunt, an uncle, and 3 cousins attend Drake, and he's been very happy with what his career has brought him at Drake. One-point lead for the Eagles. We go inside 6 minutes. Kelman across the lane, and he hits the running hook shot. He's got 14 points, 10 of them in the second half.
I mean, Larry, how do you stop that? Like, what do you do? You're not going to get in front of him. He's good enough of an athlete. Bounce off the floor with that little hook shot, too. And back to this kind of like a 1-1, like a line. It's a two-man zone. Three guys denying everybody else on the perimeter.
Sturtz tries to shoot over it, and he gets fouled and will have a chance at three. For the foul called on Darren Williams.
And I couldn't see. Our view was blocked by the official. Darren Williams rose up right away, was incensed with that call, thought Bennett Sturtz might have kicked that leg out.
And so Sturtz goes to the line for three. So far tonight from the foul line, he is 4 out of 5. And has scored a Drake high 22 points.
Yeah, we just saw the replay right there. Bennett Williams may have a case. Darren Williams may have a case.
Sturtz with 23 points now. He was the Freshman of the Year in the MIAA 2 years ago and made the All-Conference team a year ago. So, again, we mentioned earlier that he's third team preseason All-Conference, but comes with a lot of respect from a lot of people for what he's done so far. He's looking for his 25th point tonight. Played in the Kansas City suburb of Liberty, Missouri. His dad, Roger, was his head coach. And he taught his son well. And Bennett with 25 points tonight to pace the Bulldogs. And they catch Florida Gulf Coast at 55. Game tied up for the 6th time. Munoz against Abreu. Crowd beginning to get into this one now, sensing the Bulldogs could use a lift. Barno finds McClain. McClain on the baseline looking for Kelman. Ball slapped away by Abreu. Big possession for the Bulldogs as they try to regain the lead. Manuel back in with those fouls, and an offensive foul is going to be called. And they are pointing at number 3, and that is Manuel, and that's the 4th foul on the Bulldogs' big guy.
On a good possession, last possession defensively, it's just a little bit of lane. That is by the book, probably a foul. Not egregious, though, by Manuel. That was a little lean, but give credit to Ramir Barno, continuing to navigate through those screens, forcing the official to make a call.
Keyshawn Kelman going to get a break for Florida Gulf Coast. With Manuel out, I think Pat Chambers figures that's something that he can do for at least a couple of minutes. McClain for 3. First time I think he's missed from 3. Maybe the second time, but he's had some open looks in that corner.
He's found timely buckets for the Eagles. That time unable to get it to go down.
Manuel staying in with 4 fouls. Sturtz finds Manuel. Manuel misses the layup. So are you surprised to see Manuel remain in with 4 fouls?
Now, what Coach McCollum is looking for is a little bit of a spark, and you saw the explosiveness going all the way to the rim. Just unable to finish. One of the things Cam Manuel brings is his ability to score around the rim on the offensive end.
And again, Kelman's still on the bench right now for Florida Gulf Coast for the stretch run. Batted away by Manuel, loose on the court. Retrieved, though, by Barno. Taken away from him by Sturtz. Isaiah Jackson has it taken away from him by Dalian Johnson, and Johnson will get a foul.
Active hands, Isaiah Jackson and Bennett Sturtz on the defensive end, causing trouble.
Time out on the court, it's a tie.
With 1, Isaiah Jackson, active hands on the defensive end, going to the free throw line here. This is a 1-on-1 as he was getting up and down the floor.
Keyshawn Kelman back onto the court for Florida Gulf Coast. Free throw by Isaiah Jackson is good, gives him his 2nd point. Bulldogs from the foul line tonight, now 13 out of 20. Jackson gives Drake the lead. The Bulldogs by a pair as he banks that one home. Crowd getting on their feet now, trying to implore the Bulldog defense, which is best in the country, coming in, allowing just 46 points a game in the first 2.
Tough.
Off the baseline, nice, tough move, and a score that time by Dalian Johnson.
Good set drawn up that time by Coach Chambers, getting Johnson coming off that zoom action, hard to his right hand, got all the way downhill.
Manuel puts his brakes on as he gets to the baseline.
And Florida Gulf Coast back to this little mini zone. You see Duax playing the top, getting everything on the perimeter.
And foul, if it's on Duax, that will be number 5 on him, and it is. And so Michael Duax, who's played in this building several times before at Northern Iowa, will now be leaving the court with 3:05 left to play. Duax failing to score. He'd been averaging about 7 points a ball game, but on his in homecoming, in essence, for him since he's from Dubuque, fails to score and fouls out at the 3:05 mark.
And good aggressiveness. Cam Maniau recognizing the defense, going right downhill, using his size advantage. And when the whistle blew at first, I wasn't sure if that may have been an offensive using his shoulder into Duax. Both players with 4 fouls, and also on the floor, Mitch Mascari for Drake with 4 as well.
In fact, the Bulldogs have their starters in, including those 2 with 4 fouls. So it's Maniau, Jackson, Sturtz, Mascari, and Abreu on the court for the Bulldogs. Johnson, Stewart, Munoz, Kelman, and Barno on the court for Florida Gulf Coast. Cam Maniau to the line. First free throw opportunities tonight. He has struggled from the line this year, though. Just 6 out of 15 prior to that miss. Maniau transferred to Drake from Wyoming along with his Wyoming teammate, Cale Combs. Able to sink that one. Drake by 1, 3 minutes to play. Munoz calls a set play, comes in against Abreu. 3 try by Johnson won't go. And the rebound spiked out of bounds by Kelman. It goes to Drake.
Back-to-back sets for Dalian Johnson. Knocked down the first one, unable to get that one. Kelman active on the offensive glass. Just couldn't quite retrieve it for the Eagles.
2:45 to play, and Drake tries to increase a 1-point lead. Sturtz being guarded by Barno. An open look that time for Drake, and unable to complete it, Isaiah Jackson. And Florida Gulf Coast tries to regain the lead. Barno, hesitation dribble, gets inside. Jackson tried to take the ball away from him, and somehow he puts it up and gets it down.
And how about the flip with the left hand? I thought he was going to drop that one off to Kelman, but
how did he ever do that? Wow.
Ramir Barno, heck of a finish with the left amongst the trees.
Bulldogs try to counter. Sturtz looking for Mascari. Mascari been well defended tonight by Florida Gulf Coast. Shot clock down to 6. Abreu almost lost the basketball. In fact, before he did lose the basketball, a foul whistle.
A physical defense that time for Florida Gulf Coast, trying to stick to both Abreu and Mascari, not allowing any easy catch and shoot opportunities. Smart by Abreu. When the defense is up on you and being physical, drive into that contact, force the officials to blow their whistle.
Abreu with a couple of threes tonight and 12 points, all in the first half, goes to the line. 7 of 10 so far as a Bulldog, and he notches that one. Drake catches Florida Gulf Coast at 59. One more for the graduate student from Springfield, Missouri. And he puts that one down, and the Bulldogs regain the lead. Inside 2 minutes. Both coaches have 2 timeouts remaining. Both teams are in the bonus. And Drake is in the double bonus. The lob for Kelman. There's no stopping that.
Great strain on the backside. Dalian Johnson getting behind Cam Maniau. And Kelman exploding up another lob from Barno.
Kelman had a lot of offers when he left Princeton to go to larger schools and maybe even some looks from the NBA. But no, he decided to go to Florida Gulf Coast. He was an early commitment. And are they thrilled that he got back for his 6th year? Here's Abreu with 5 on the shot clock. Being bottled up. Trying to pitch it at the last minute to Maniau. Abreu with the shot clock winding down. Misfires. And Florida Gulf Coast, as we near the final minute of the ball game, has the ball on a 1-point lead.
Great defense from the Eagles again. Looked like Coach Chambers wants a timeout to really talk his team through this last possession. This possession under a minute to go with a 1-point advantage.
in a row at home. That is the second longest streak in the country, tied with Connecticut, a game behind Houston. They've won 45 non-conference games in a row at home, and they are on the line tonight. Florida Gulf Coast a 1-point lead in the possession. Ramir Barno's done such a good job as a floor general with the ball. Stewart now.
Same play we saw a minute
Set
ago.
up to Barno. Makes the move on Isaiah Jackson. Shot clock goes down to 8. Barno drives the base once again. There's the kick. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Munoz finds Kelman. Kelman hits the rim, misses the shot, and the Bulldogs have the basketball on a 1-point lead.
Well, how about that? Everything you could want if you're Coach Chambers. Kelman just unable to put it down.
And so now the Bulldogs, 30.9 seconds.
Now we'll take a look at it here.
Left in
Munoz
regulation.
getting all the way to the McCullum puts in. So Mascari, Abreu, and subbing in Andrew Aaliyah as an extra shooter to help create a little bit more floor spacing for Drake.
Search with 25 points leading the Bulldogs. He's also drawn 7 fouls. Puts the ball to the court. Here's the shot by Abreu for 3, and the Bulldogs take the lead on the Daniel Abreu 3 with 23 seconds to play. And now a timeout.
Watching the action for a second, some screen action. No doubt you're going to see some activity as well from Kelman.
Keep an eye on number 32 wearing the pink shoes. Keyshawn Kelman. He's been very tough to stop.
A little bit of full court pressure from Drake. I think just token pressure to try to slow Florida Gulf Coast down.
Out of the backcourt comes Devin Munoz. Munoz guarded by Banks. Shot clock or game clock goes to 12 seconds. On the baseline, Munoz fakes a couple of times. Is bottled up. The Bulldogs defense has him bottled up, and he is forced to call a timeout, I believe.
Yeah, smart.
That's what he did.
Smart play for Munoz. What they were trying to do, they were trying to run a little ISO action. And still 5.8 seconds. That is plenty of time, especially for an under basket out of bounds play.
A 2-pointer ties it, and a 3-pointer gives the lead to Florida Gulf Coast. Sturtz has got the defense in the corner. Off balance shot. Won't go by Johnson. Rebound Sturtz, and the Bulldogs hang on to win. Wow.
A great look. Dalian Johnson thought he might have shuffled his